Okay, good evening. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Town of Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission to order. It is Monday, October 26, 2020 at 7:00 p.m. We are meeting via Zoom. We will begin with a roll call. Mr. Lenke.
John B. Lenke, present.
Mr. Nelson.
Christopher Nelson, present.
Mr. Poplawski.
Dave Poplawski, present.
Ms. Chattel.
Chattel, present.
Mr. Santos.
Brian Santos, present.
Mr. Hill.
Melvin Hill, present.
Okay, and I will seat Mr. Hill for Ms. DeRogers.
Randy's in now too. I don't think you saw him come in yet.
Did not. Great, thank you. Mr. Blackmer.
He's on mute.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Blackmer. So Mr. Hill for Ms. DeRogers, Mr. Santos for Mr. Krogel, and Mr. Poplawski for Ms. Langlois. Item 2, public hearing. There is none. Item 3, discuss public hearing and possible action. None. Item 4, approve minutes, September 28th. Oh, hold on. Mr. Weiss is calling me. Hi, John. I'm not sure. We've got a couple here. So, how can I help you, John? Yeah, here, hold on. Let me send you a link, John. Give me a minute. Yep. Having a hard time because the link in the PDF was not working. My apologies. We are.
Joe, if you want to continue on, I'll do it. I'll email John the link.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
I just got a message from Charlene that she will not make it. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Joe, while you're discussing this link thing, most Zoom meetings that I've been on, I don't know what the hell you call that long 50-character thing is, but anyway, usually it's highlighted and I can just click on it. But on this one, I have to type it in. It's not highlighted.
Yeah, I hear that, Randy. I have the same issue as well.
I have to start a half an hour early so I can get that typed in by the time you start.
Yeah, so maybe that's something we can look into for.
And just, I don't know who would do that, but I was wondering whether that might have anything to do with, I do not have a zoning commission email address.
No.
Or town email address.
No, doesn't have anything to do with that.
Okay.
What you do
No, it
is,
has something to do with how the PDF is created, Randy. I think if I'll try to remember to also send to everybody after Gloria sends out the agendas, the full link in the body of an email, and that should solve the problem.
Okay, thank you.
the other thing you can do is if you have the Zoom app on your computer, all you do is just hit the Zoom app, and then they're going to ask you for your ID, and then you put that in there, and they ask you for your password, and you put that in there, and then they let you into the meeting.
Okay,
Correct.
well, you're talking to a dummy here. You
Yeah.
gotta remember that.
Well, next time you come in the office, I'll show you. Because you can't, you're right, you cannot hit that link on, and I don't know why that's like that. It's not
It's
mine.
a scanned document. Somebody scanned it.
Right.
Exactly, and you can't do that. You have to put it on there. How does the public get in? If we can't get in, then the public can't get in if they don't know that they have to have the Zoom app and you put your password, et cetera, on. The public has to be able to get into your meetings. How did Linda get into the meeting? Linda's here. She's part of the public.
Well, if you do put the link in to the Zoom meeting and you don't have Zoom on your computer, after you hit the link, it will download Zoom for you.
Okay,
Right, and yeah. So there are a couple of different ways to do this, including, typing in, as Randy said, the very long address. You can just type that into a browser and it'll bring you into the meeting as
Yeah,
well.
but that's just so unnecessary.
Right.
Absolutely, we are all in agreement on that point. I think
Right.
we're gonna work to make sure that going forward that the meetings are in fact hyperlinked. And that the
Yeah,
link is-
because you
Yeah, Gloria, hold on, Gloria, I think the easiest way to do that for the commissioners, at least, is when you send them the agenda that has the link address copied in it, I forward that to you in an email. If you would also just forward that email that I send to you with that link, then they'll have it in both places, both in the PDF of the agenda and also in the body of an email that they can click a live link.
Okay, we'll do.
He can also send the agenda in Word separate from the package too.
I believe
to-
I
to
did
the
send the
members.
agenda in Word.
No,
I
no, it comes in PDF.
Okay. Yeah, so
So-
we'll work on that for next month, and I think that's exactly the issue John's having as well. So
Yes, it is.
John should be joining in a second.
thank you for helping out with that, Brian, and thanks for bringing that up, Randy. So item 4 is to approve the minutes of the September 28th, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lenke,
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of the September 28, 2020 meeting.
I got a couple of, well, at least one, I don't know whether it's worth bringing up or not, but the next thing on the agenda, or the application 20-22, when that was put in the minutes last meeting, or the minutes, when it was discussed last month, they've got JD Associates address as where the land is. It's just I can understand how it happened, but I don't know whether that's worth noting in the minutes or not.
yeah, no, certainly it is. You're talking about the 401 Ravenel Road?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not
no,
where
that was my error. I copied it wrong from the application.
and I guess I just say have it corrected so that we have the right address. We don't want to see Janet out on the street.
Yeah, so that would be, Randy's suggestion would be to edit 401 Ravenel Road to 171 Brickyard Road.
Okay, now while we're at it, just so we don't, it's not 171 Brickyard Road, it's Capitulic Road where the lots are that we're discussing tonight. So there's a second error there. I think the total property that Fogarty owns, only because I live a mile from there and I know this, they own the parcel that goes from Brickyard Road. It's bordered, actually it's on both sides of Brickyard Road, but also out Capitulic Road, actually on both sides of Capitulic Road. And it's Capitulic Road where these two lots are being subdivided off.
So that was on the application, the Brickyard Road, and so I feel that when I'm doing the application, I'm bound by putting what the address is on the application. But Randy and I talked about this today, and yes, when I was reviewing the site plan, I did pick that up. So I did mention it to Daniel today, that there could be a change in that too.
Great, so I think that's perhaps separate from the minutes.
Yes, it
That's
is.
correct. Yes, it's the same issue, but a different paragraph.
Right, so
Joe, I
shall,
don't know if you want to note for the record that John Rice is in the meeting now.
yes, thank you. I was just about to do that, Tara. Thank you. Mr. Rice, welcome.
Yes, thank you.
So John Lenke had made a motion to approve the minutes as sent. Mr. Lenke, would you like to withdraw or amend that motion?
Yeah, I'll be fine with that. Amend the motion.
To include the correction?
Yes.
Mr. Blackmer?
Yeah.
I'll second the amended motion.
Okay, Mr. Lenke moves to approve with one correction. Mr. Blackmer seconds the motion. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, it will be yes to approve, no to continue discussion on the minutes. Mr. Lenke,
John B. Linky, yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Christopher Nelson, yes.
Mr. Poplawski,
Dave Poplawski, yes.
Mr. Santos,
And Santos abstain. I was not present.
Mr. Hill,
Abstain, I was not seated.
Ms. Chattel, Christine Chattel, yes. Mr. Rice,
John.
John, you're
Unmute yourself,
muted.
John.
You're muted.
Pushing the button there. John Rice, yes.
Mr. Blackmer,
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Joseph Brody Brown, yes. Okay, the minutes are approved. Item 5, applications received.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
could I have a correction on what we're doing to amend the minutes on application 2022?
of course. Yep. So if you look, Gloria, oops, I'm in the wrong window. Where it says, so on page 2, where application 2022 is listed, in the second line, 401 Ravenel Road should read 171 Brickyard Road.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Item 5, application Planning and Zoning Commission 20-22, property owner Gloria and James Fogarty of 373 Old New London Road, Salem, Connecticut. Request for property at 171 Brickyard Road, map 40, block 88, lot 169, zone RRAD, 3-lot subdivision.
Okay, this was the place I was talking about. It's still not right.
Correct. Or yeah, and so Cindy or Mr. Blanchett.
It's right according to the record that was submitted to me, and I have to put
Correct.
what's on the record.
Yes, no,
So-
of course. Yep. Yeah. No.
Okay.
We recognize that, Cindy. Thank you. So I know you had said you had spoken with Mr. Blanchett. Mr. Blanchett, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Can you help us with that bit of the puzzle?
Yes, of course. So again, my name is Daniel Blanchett. I work with J&D Civil Engineers, and I'm a licensed civil engineer in the state of Connecticut. I'm here on behalf of the owners, James and Gloria Fogarty, to discuss a subdivision of their property. As we said before, the street address is 171 Brickyard Road, but the property's fairly large. It's about 55 acres. It has maybe 600 feet of frontage on Brickyard Road, probably about 1,500 feet of frontage on Capitulic Road. And so again, so the lot does technically have an address on Brickyard. The two proposed lots that we'd like to cut out are off Capitulic Road on the far side of the property. And I'd actually like to apologize. At the last meeting, I think I had mentioned that this was a 2-lot subdivision, which was an oversight on my part. That was a mistake. It's actually a 3-lot subdivision because there is an existing house on the property. So again, we're proposing 2 new lots, but there is remaining land with an existing house and some outbuildings. A 3-lot subdivision also, though, we're not required to hold a public hearing or to donate anything to open space or conservation. So it's in the same category. So I have a 4-sheet set of plans that have been submitted. I think hopefully you all have copies. I'll run through that real quickly. The first sheet has the zoning table that talks about all the minimums and the maximums, the requirements. We show the soil types. We show buildings and abutters within 500 feet. And then if we really skip to the second sheet of the plan set. Now that's the subdivision survey. So here you can see again, we're up in the north corner of the property at the end of Capitoolic Road where we're proposing these two new lots. The lots are well in excess of both the old zoning that it was designed for and the new zoning. And so both lots have, they're about 4-acre lots. We had originally designed, I think, 3 or 4 lots here, but the owners, you know, this is their family farm. This is the Capitoolic farm that the road is named for. And so they kind of feel that this is their legacy, and they wanted to make big lots. So that's why they instructed me to make very big lots, 4 acres, quite a bit of frontage. If you can flip to the third sheet, that's kind of the meat and potatoes. That is our site development plan. You can see the front, maybe third of the property along the road is historically been an agricultural field, a hay field, pasture. So there's quite a bit of already open space there at the road. It's pretty nice. We don't even have to cut any trees to put houses here. The soils on site are also very sandy. These sites will not be required to have an engineered septic system because the soils are so good. There's very little groundwater. There is a pocket of wetlands on lot 169B, but no work proposed within the wetlands. And we have already received a wetlands approval, conceptual wetlands approval for this about 2 weeks ago.
I have a question on that. I think that wetlands is where Mr. Capitoolic had dug some gravel out before. Does that constitute a wetland because it was manually dug out before?
Yes, it does. Yeah, even an artificial wetland, after enough time, it acquires the characteristics of a wetland soil. We had it delineated by Margaret Washburn, and she noted in her report that probably gravel mining had taken place. It had been extensively disturbed.
And it's not a huge area that was disturbed either.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. It's a nice little project, 2 lots. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Blanchett. Do any members of the commission have any questions for Mr. Blanchett?
I have a question, Joe.
Mr. Santos?
Maybe it's more for Cindy. I'm just reading through her memo. Cindy, you said Article 3, Section A, a public hearing regarding application for approval of a subdivision of less than 4 lots shall be held by the commission if in its judgment the circumstances require such action.
Yeah, I put that in there because there was a lot of confusion last month, mainly because I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. So I take that responsibility. I just wanted to let you know that that's part of what the subdivision regulation says. If you think as a commission as a whole that this needs more than just your approval, which you can do under the subdivision regulations, then you can call for a public hearing. I just put that in because that's what's in the subdivision regulations.
Yeah.
But no, you don't have to. You can approve it according to the other sections of the regulations I quoted.
Okay.
Which I didn't quote the whole thing. I just made statements out of them.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was very confusing when I was reading it, and it's something to think about for next year. I really couldn't find, and maybe I didn't look deep enough, but I couldn't really find where it says that the Planning and Zoning Commission or the Planning Commission has to do a site plan approval for 3 lots and under. So I just grabbed what I thought was appropriate to put in there, that is your power to approve the site plan without a public hearing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I don't know the answer to the latter question about our power of that. I don't have the new zoning regs in front of me at this particular second, but.
Well, these are the subdivision regulations I quoted.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good.
If I could, I'll add one final point. We are asking for one waiver. We are asking that the sidewalk requirement be waived. I think there's no sidewalks around to connect to, so I don't really feel that it makes sense, and we're asking that the commission will waive that.
Certainly makes sense to me.
I agree.
Put it in recommendation of the motion.
I'd like to, I like to defer to our planner on this one. I think it was also on Capitoolic Road, though, right after you became planner, Tira, where I know you're generally pro sidewalk, but I think it was a Capitoolic Road project that you thought that it made sense to accept the waiver. Am I correct on that?
I remember the applicant. I don't remember the address, and that was, I think, a similar case where it was such a small subdivision. You are correct, Joe, that I am not generally happy about the idea of waiving sidewalks for developers, but I would say that this is a different kind of case. You know, something on the lines of Donovan Drive or Madison or, you know, those larger multi-home developments. I think you should make a point of not waiving sidewalks. But in this case, if there's sidewalks to nowhere, I think you're okay.
Joe, can I make a comment? I appreciate what, Joe.
Go ahead.
I want to get off on the right foot here in that I appreciate all the work that Tara did and that, but I think we have to remember that she's not part of the Planning and Zoning Commission and not a commission member. So I don't know how you get to be asking for her input on our regulations now that they're final. You know what I'm trying to say?
I do. I don't think I would. I do see her role as a advisory to this commission as a planner to make recommendations on questions that affect the town characteristics, town design. Certainly, we are. I also agree with you that we are well within our rights to ignore that advice or to heed it as we see fit. I'm not saying that,
Yeah, but I look at it, it's almost like a public hearing where you're not getting advice or comments from anybody else outside of the commission members. I'm not, like I say, I really appreciate, because I've been there trying to update regulations, so I know all the hard work she did, but I think for my put, it has to stop there. Because even if you look at the job description of a planner, that's not included in that description. You know, she looks at planning of the town. If she comes up with a particular plan, there's something to do, then they bring it forward. She would, or the planner would bring it forward to the commission for consideration. But to have interpretation of our regulations or looking forward, I at this point, I don't think it's right. My comment. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, yeah, I appreciate it, John. I don't know if I agree with your characterization of what I asked her, but I certainly do appreciate your point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Jones. Good to speak with you tonight. We'll be watching.
And any other questions for Mr. Blanchett?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Daniel.
Mr. Hell.
Daniel, did you put in any of the pins or monuments, or were they existing? Anything existing?
There were some pins existing from the free split that was taken out that we used, but we haven't set any pins until the subdivision is approved.
Okay, thank you.
Mountain gardens, breathtaking landscapes are just some of what's waiting to be discovered. When time is right for you, our great places.
Thank you.
If we're all set, Joe, I'm ready to make a motion.
Certainly, Mr. Rice.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve application 2022 and waive the sidewalk requirement.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Rice has moved and Mr. Hill has seconded to accept application 20-22 with a waiver for the requirement of sidewalks. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, it's a yes to approve with a waiver, no to deny. Mr. Lenke,
John B. Lanky, yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Christopher Nelson, yes.
Mr. Poplawski,
Dave Poplawski, yes.
Mr. Santos,
Ryan Santos, yes.
Mr. Hill,
Alvin Hill, yes.
Ms. Chattel. Ms. Chattel, yes. Mr. Rice
John Rice, yes.
and Joseph Brody Brown. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Blackmer.
Andy Blackmer, yes.
Joseph Brody Brown, yes. Okay, thank you. Application, Planning and Zoning Commission, application 20-23. Property owner David Blake of 29 South Shore Road, Thompson, Connecticut. Request to build a residential dwelling at 31 South Shore Road off an unaccepted road per Town of Thompson Ordinance, Article 14, February 26, 1973. Not sure if the applicant is here or Cindy.
Yep, I'm talking now. Okay. David and Pat, you're here, right? Patricia? Oh, she's gonna unmute herself.
They're on mute. Let me see if I can unmute them.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So do you want to introduce yourself and your address and everything for the record?
Yes, David and Patricia Blake. We live at 29 South Shore Road, and the piece of property is at 31 South Shore Road.
Okay, so do you mind, members, if I start out and just read you from my memo what I wrote on this this application? Is that okay? You want to start there? Okay.
Yes.
At the P&Z meeting in January, the commission approved recommending the Board of Selectmen the sale of a strip of land fronting property at 31 South Shore Road, owned by David Blake. With the ownership of that strip of land, which shows on the site plan I sent to you, fronts an unaccepted town road, a portion of South Shore Road. And I say a portion of South Shore Road because the property card says 31 South Shore Road. And the reason why it says that is because there was a Quonset hut on that piece of property and Mr. Blake had torn it down. And anytime I'm wrong about any of this information, David, just let me, just interrupt me.
Yes, I will.
So that's why it's addressed to South Shore Road, but you can see from the plan, South Shore Road goes sort of like a curve, and then you've got Jackson Road from Massachusetts coming. So we'll get to that. Technically, the driveway entrance to the land will be off the unaccepted street, but the town of Webster approved a subdivision parallel to the unaccepted part of 31 South Shore Road and will be developing what is now called Jackson Road in the town of Webster. In the record, I placed a copy of map GEO and Jackson Road is delineated on the map. Entrance to 31 South Shore Road will eventually be from the town of Webster paved road, Jackson Road. Now, before I read the next part, I decided to take a ride up there today because I'm a very visual person. And I drove all the way down that dirt road till I could not go any further. Off of that unaccepted road, I said dirt road, but unaccepted road, there's a driveway that goes off the right, goes into a house, I believe, in the back. And then you continue straight down, and then there's a house there. And David, is that house in Massachusetts or Connecticut?
That house is in Massachusetts.
Okay. Okay, so, and then she put up a gate and she has a lot of no trespassing signs, et cetera, on that particular unaccepted strip. So I stopped and I took a look. I took a look at the property that David owns. I took a look at the houses being built in Webster. And I took a look at Jackson Road, and I'm going, where, after all this is done, are you really going to have that dirt road? It seems like it's going to be a well-developed road. Do you agree with me, David?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I'm glad I went up there to take a good look at it. So having explained this, it is still not within the town of, so having explained the road situation, it's still not within the town of Thompson zoning regulations to issue a building permit to a residential dwelling off an unaccepted road. Mr. Blake is requesting approval to build off the unaccepted street according to the town of Thompson ordinance, building on accepted streets, February 26th, 1973. Mr. Blake is requesting approval on his application as it relates to the town ordinance. And I think I said order attached, but I don't think I attached it, guys. I'm really sorry. But are you familiar with it? Because you went through it a couple of months ago with Mr. Tewksbury.
Yes, yeah. I mean, was that, I thought it was just last month. Was it a couple months ago?
Well, maybe it was last month. You know,
You might be right.
but I mean, I can read it off to you again. You just have to give me a minute to get it. John, I did bring my ordinance book home.
Yeah.
John and I were going through this today.
If I can, Mr. Chairman, but just on that last mention that we approve that Tewksbury, he did agree to improve that road though. So I don't know how that's gonna play with this one.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I think the emphasis is on the fact that eventually there is going to be a paved road, but it's going to be in Massachusetts.
Yes, that's correct.
And there doesn't look like there's a whole lot of room between that unaccepted street and how they're coming in from Massachusetts when I was down there. Do you agree with that, David?
Yes.
So,
Okay. Do you want me to read the ordinance, everybody?
so Cindy, if I may, and while you're talking about that road now, did we get any kind of a site plan? Oh, no, he hasn't, he doesn't plan on building. He wants to sell the land. So that person, even if the land is in Thompson, he will be accessing his property, that 0.26 acres or whatever the town is gonna give him or sell him. Will that be on that Jackson Road in Massachusetts?
Maybe David can answer that because you have you have KWP doing it, right, David?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
They did. So they did it twice. The original and the new plan. And that one, that's like, I'd say 30 feet from Jackson Road. The end of my land is going to be. So they're putting a septic sewer system in there now. We're getting ready to, and then they're going to put the paved driveway all the way down to the house down the end. So there will be about 30 feet from my property to the Todd Road on one of the ends.
So that access to that lot, is it David? I'm sorry.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That driveway with that anticipated house going in that lot that you're gonna sell, will that be on that Jackson Road, which is part of Massachusetts or Connecticut?
Well, when they paved the road, they're going to only pave the road into Massachusetts. They're not touching Connecticut. They want,
Okay.
so the entire road's going to be in Massachusetts. So between that Todd Road and my property, there's still going to be a small piece of road there that's just going to be just left alone, I guess. Hopefully someday I can purchase it or the owner.
So it is technically still considered an unaccepted street, according to the, well, I actually looked for definitions of unaccepted street in the old regulations and the new regulations. And I didn't see any definition in either one, but we sort of all know what an unaccepted street is. I think the basis of saying that's an unaccepted street is based on your dimensions and how far you have to be. And our dimensions say that you have to be so many feet away from the front, the frontage from a paved road. So that's why we're going to this ordinance, because our regulations say you have to build off a paved road.
Well,
Any more questions?
Cindy, Joe,
Mr. Weiss.
we're talking ordinances. That's what he's basing his approval on, or hoping to get an approval. Now, what ordinance are we talking about in that, in the request, his application? It says, in Article 4, 1973.
That's what it's here. It's Article 4,
Yeah.
February 26, 1973. Now,
Okay.
John, what I did after you left the office today, I actually looked at that H and the H with the asterisk.
Yeah.
That's in the new part or new document of the ordinance. And what it says, an ordinance with an H and an ordinance with an asterisk is in both the current code of ordinances and in the history of ordinances. So what I read that as is that is still an ordinance.
That's still good. I guess the only thing, Cindy, I don't know if anybody else looked up or has a book of ordinances, but if you look in that new book of ordinances, okay, under that H, if you look at unaccepted streets, okay, which I assume it correlates with the old ordinance that you're referring to in Article 4, that's 73. It says here, unaccepted street, in parentheses, see current zoning regulations.
So then after we had our conversation, that's where I came up with, oh yeah, they're telling you to see zoning regulations. So I went and said, okay, where's the definition of unaccepted streets? There's no definition in either set of regulations, the old ones or the amended. So then I just came to the conclusion in my head is that they're relating it to so many feet, your frontage is so many feet away from a paved road, or you have to have so much frontage from a paved road. So
Where
if you
you
put
getting
two and
that?
two together, you can't build off an unaccepted street.
Where are you getting that? Where'd you find that?
Well, I'm finding it in the
40 feet.
dimensions.
Huh?
I'm finding it in the dimensions of all the regulations.
Of what regulations?
Of all the districts. You have your dimensions in your district
Oh,
of
so
how many
you-
feet it has to be on a frontage and how many feet back you have to be from your frontage of a paved road. So that's why I think it says see current zoning regulations. So you go to your zone, you go to your dimensions. Oh, you can't build off an unaccepted road because you have to be so many feet from a paved road. But this ordinance says you guys can let them build off an unaccepted street. You get that, everybody?
I mean, that's what it all comes down to, right? Is that the ordinance.
What?
That the ordinance gives the commission the authority to essentially make exceptions, right? If they
Right.
appropriate.
Yeah, and that's what you did for Tweaksbury.
So let me get this straight, Josie. What we're saying is that we're combining the old ordinances and the new regulations.
No,
Well,
no, in both,
you can't have both.
wait, but you have an unaccepted street.
Yeah.
So in your new regulations, and I don't know if did I put his zone down? Probably didn't, because I'm so confused about the zones.
Zone 20.
But so let's say it's rural agricultural now. And so your setback, front setbacks, of course, it doesn't even say, oh, interesting. Where does it say that your front and setbacks have to be from an accepted street? In here. Anybody else have the regulations in front of them?
What page you on, Cindy?
Well, I'm on page 29. Okay, the minimum lot is just,
Okay, 29, which is part of the rural residential
right,
agricultural district, right?
right, right. You took all of that and put it into all R40s, R20s in that area up there and 80s and put it in rural residential. The maximum. Yeah, see, it doesn't say frontage from an accepted street in your new regulations. Let me look at the old one.
So, but I guess.
Cindy, I believe you'll find that in the definitions for frontage is how frontage is defined. I think that was where we covered it.
Okay, all right, well, just long as it's covered, because it's covered in the dimension chart, I believe. Yeah, it's covered in the dimension chart and the old ones. Minimum setback from public street, minimum lot frontage on public street. Probably would be good to put that into each regard, but okay, if it's covered in that, that's fine. So, I forgot what we were talking about, John. So no, we're not really asking for this on both set of regulations. We're asking for it on the new one because it's still an unaccepted street. They have to have a frontage, as Tara just said, the definition. Accepted street is in the definition of frontage. Any more questions?
Cindy, in the new regulations, okay, you're on page 28, that rural residential agricultural
Yes.
district.
Yes.
And under the table of permitted uses, what number is this coming under?
Dwelling.
That you're getting?
They want to build a dwelling. A
I'm
single
sorry?
family dwelling.
Family dwelling?
Yeah, a single family dwelling, which is.
3 or more units, okay.
No, a single family dwelling. Oh, that's what they want to do, right, David? He wants to build a single family dwelling?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
The way that we have all watched Ruth over the years, I think that will go to Amy Coney Barrett.
So you have to go back to that zoning permit simple then, what the regulations are for that, correct?
Right, but the reason we're talking about this is because it's on the unaccepted street, the ordinance explicitly gives the authority to the commission to decide whether or not to allow it.
Okay, so we're using the old ordinance that allows that.
The
Is it
town
nothing-
We're using the ordinance that exists in the schedule of ordinances.
The current ordinance.
Well, there's nothing in there that says that it was erased. Of course, I'm not an expert on the town ordinances, guys, so.
Hey, but this is what we did a couple of months ago for Tewksbury.
Yeah,
Yes, and one of the things that the ordinance reads, the impact of such structure upon the neighborhood and town, particularly with regard to traffic and residential density, access to sewers, a suitability for on-site system, size of the lot and proposed to be built upon, and suitability of the proposed structure to the neighborhood. These are the things that you take into consideration. You go down there and David's house that he lives in is the last house. Then there's that lot. And as I said before, I drove down the dirt road. There's a driveway that goes to a house way in the back. And then there's a house straight down the end of the road, which that house is in Massachusetts. So there's literally no traffic that's going to be going into that area. There'll be houses on the other side going off the dirt road, going off the Jackson Road. That's going to be paved by Massachusetts. The experienced members of the board, have you had these experiences where you're right on the border and some land is in Massachusetts, some land's in Connecticut? I mean, these are tough situations. You agree or not agree?
Yeah.
The only
Or
thing,
comment?
one of the, Cindy and Joe, the members, the only thing I'm fighting with is that, we made new regulations. Are we going back to the old regulations? Because I'm looking at the application for this was submitted when? On 10/7?
Yeah.
Which is
Mhm.
October 7th. Okay, and our new set of regulations became effective in September 15th.
But we're still
not
going
sure
off,
why.
we're going off the new ones because of the requirement for the frontage. The only difference between the new ones and the old ones is the definition of frontage is in the definition section. It doesn't, the old one had it in parentheses, it had to be a public street. It doesn't say it in our table of dimensions on our new regulations that it has to be off of an accepted street.
But it says it says a public road in the definition.
Definitions.
That was my
Yes.
question. You keep on saying unaccepted street or road.
Yeah.
But is it really classified that, or is it a public road? Is Jackson a public gravel road?
Jackson would be a public road probably in Massachusetts because it was up until where the subdivision is going, it was paved. And then it stopped being paved at the subdivision. Again, David, correct me if I'm wrong. So
But it's still a public road, regardless if it's in Massachusetts. or-
yes, because people have,
public
they have an easement to it. The people off of those unaccepted roads. And a perfect example is I come off an unaccepted road in the town of Putnam. I have an easement to it.
Yeah.
I can use that all I want.
I'm also only assuming that this drawing that is in the packet here, the PZC 20-23, it's drawn wrong. Because it shows Jackson Road in Thompson, but then crosses over to
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
just a little bit of yes.
Yeah.
But and remember, that's a G. Let me get the application.
I don't think it really much matters though. It's a public road, right? So I'm missing something here. I'm confused. If it's a public road, that's our definition. So I'm just confused on why we keep on saying that it's unaccepted.
But no, this piece of property at this point is not the frontage to that public road because it's not developed yet. Is that right, David?
Yes, that's correct.
Right, that part of Jackson is still, it's like my street. You come up to Bates Avenue, it's all paved. You come into a portion of it, it's unpaved.
Yeah,
That part of Bates Avenue is unaccepted.
There's all kinds of unpaved roads in Thompson, but there's
Oh, sure, a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. So
Yeah.
I don't know what difference that makes right now.
I think the language of unaccepted road comes from the town ordinance. Again, not from any of our regulations.
Yeah.
From that town ordinance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Excuse me, Joe, again, isn't there a piece of land that we approved to the selectmen to donate or dispose of? Isn't that a piece of land there that'll make that whole property on Jackson Road?
No, there's still that strip. There's
No?
still that strip of unaccepted road.
Oh.
Right, David?
Yes, I mean, I got.
Has
there's
that
two
been
different
approved
ones.
by the selectmen to donate that land?
I told Amy last week I needed to know, and she's been busy all week. I've been busy all week. She wasn't in today. So David, did you hear from Amy?
Cindy, I'm in the meeting right now. This is Amy Sanon.
Okay, all right.
So I did bring it to the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Selectmen had previously said that, you know, there's really no interest in the land. The town does not actually own the land. And I just want to clarify that the land that is in question has to go through the court system. There's really no defined owner. So Mr. Blake put in the expense of having it surveyed with the intention of potentially acquiring it. But the Board of Selectmen is okay with him acquiring the property.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. That makes sense to me.
And I did bring it up at the last Board of Selectmen meeting, just to keep them apprised to the situation.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Enosh.
So Amy, are you, then you're waiting for a court decision, then you'll approve the transfer?
Well, it's not town-owned property, so I don't believe that it's our jurisdiction. I think that right now the courts are backed up. And it's a matter of making sure that there are no interested heirs to the property.
Oh, okay.
So it's really in the court's hands. But from what I understood, according to the new regulations, with a variance of some sort through P&Z, he should be able to make it a buildable lot.
Well, it wouldn't be a variance because the ZBA does that, Amy, but it would be, accepting
I'm
under
incorrect
that.
with the terms, but
Accepting it under that ordinance, allowing them to do it under that ordinance.
There is a standard for recusal that is codified by some justices.
Cindy, this is Dave.
Yes.
So the minimum building mentioned square feet is 40,000 square feet, right? The building?
25, isn't it?
Yeah, I might not even have the right zone for this. I'm sorry, guys. I just quoted that one because the dimension, because the requirements are all the same. Your frontage, as far as requirements of having to have.
Cindy, I looked it up. It is RRAD.
It is.
Yep.
And
Okay, so then that has to go. Oh God.
the map is showing it's 11,000 square feet.
Oh, geez.
So I'm not sure all the discussion because it's.
Well, then well, they know that their next step is to the ZBA.
Yeah. Okay.
It's to the ZBA. They know that.
You know, by that measure, it would seem to me that anyone who was appointed by any
Okay.
that might benefit them in some way, they would have to.
Any other questions for Cindy, for the applicant?
That's right.
David, do you have anything else you want to add?
Nothing, not that I know of. I mean, if I knew more, I would. But, we just, we're trying to, we cleaned that lot up. We, they had a Quonset hut on there and it was getting to be a safety hazard. So we had that cleared out of there too, which part of that that Quonset hut was on that dirt road and part of it was on my land. But I had, I paid to get the dumpster and we took it down and had it taken away. And
Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Rono.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lenke.
why don't we just let it go to the ZBA and see what they say, because Mr. Rice has very good valid points. Ms. Dunn had some very good points, and Ms. St. Ange had brought in a few good points. And there's nothing much we can do about it, because if it's in the court's hands, it ain't town owned and everything. It's just, we're just throwing things out there and, let's just see what happens. I don't know how I could vote on this because I'm still confused. We don't own it. The town doesn't own it. This gentleman wants to own it. It's on a dirt road that's considered, not a town road, but if you look at the map and it says South Shore Road, so if there's some houses there that have numbers on them, like 14 South Shore Road. It might not be a paved road, but it's a dirt road and it's part of the town of Thompson. And the other one is in Webster. I know that area of that. It was always confused with who had what road on what side, or what houses on what side of the road of the line. It's getting a little confusing. So I think my personal feeling is that I think we should wait to see how the court handles this and then go from there and then help this gentleman get this land or whatever it takes down the road. But I can't make a decision on this.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Linky. I'm concerned about this ownership question as well. You know, I don't see how we can act on.
This could come back and bite us if we.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we can act on an application if it's not clear who the owner is.
Can David,
Yes.
do you think that Steve can come next month to talk to the members and explain this whole legal issue?
Steve Adams. See,
Yeah.
Steve said everything's okayed, except he has to just get it written off by the judge. But since there's so much backup and it's not open, he can't get it done. But he says he knows. I mean, he certainly knows what he's doing. But he said there's not going to be any problem except the judge has to sign off on that piece of land, that little extra piece of land. But what I thought we were doing here tonight is I was just trying to legally cross over that property. That's all. Isn't this all we're doing here tonight? Is just illegally crossing over it? Isn't that the vote?
What you're doing tonight is just allowing for a house to be built on after you acquire that piece of property.
That piece of property, yeah.
You're allowing a house, you're asking the P&Z under that town ordinance to allow you to build a house on an unaccepted street.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the next month one. Sorry.
No,
I thought that was for next month. I apologize.
No, that's different for the ZBA.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But this could, the ZBA, I don't know how has the ZBA ever approved a building a house on an unaccepted street? I don't know, not in the 3 years I've been here. And of course, you guys aren't on the ladies and gentlemen aren't on the ZBA, so I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, I think what I would suggest is, Mr. Rice.
Joe, I'd be willing to approve that if we make a judgment that we're gonna go by the ordinance of February 26, 1973, Article 4, if we're gonna use that, if that's still active, because I don't think that ordinance committee has fully cleared all of these things. I'm thinking that they would probably rewrite something other than see current zoning regulations. And if we don't have nothing in our zoning regulations addressing that, because if we go by the old ordinance, which is history in the book of February, I'm saying, looking at issue written permission, which the commission can do for the issuance of such a building permit under having considered the impact of such structure upon the neighborhood and town, particularly with regard to traffic, residential density, access to sewers and suitability for on-site septic system, size of the lot proposed to be built upon. So I would use that as the reason for approving this to be built on an unaccepted road based on this ordinance of 1973. That's one way I think we can get out of all of this, is that it's not going to impact anything by putting that structure, because I would assume there's not gonna a lot of traffic going down that, along that pond
No, just one house.
or anywhere else around that area.
So
Putting another,
basically,
putting another
that's,
house in that, putting another house in that area, I don't think it's gonna bother anything.
so basically, that's exactly what he's asking for tonight. Anything concerns of John, which, you know, I appreciate your concerns, John Blinky, but that's what they're asking for. And then if there are other problems that come with this, then that's up to Mr. Blake to take care of that. We already know for one issue, we have to go to the ZBA. We already know that. But that's all that he's asking for, is the permission, according to that town ordinance, that he can build off an unaccepted street, providing all other conditions are equal later on down the road.
If that was a formal motion, Mr. Rice, I'll second that motion.
Was that a motion, John?
Yes, with the, as stated, I'm basing the motion on that we're using the ordinance of February 26, 1973 of, I got the wrong one here, conservation, February 26th, sorry, Gloria, February 26, 1973, Article 4.
14.
Basing that on my approval or motion on that. If
I'm
this
sorry, John,
ordinance,
Article 4 or Article 14?
Article 4.
Oh, that should have been 4 up there in the, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That should have been 4. I don't know how that got to be 14. I apologize.
Okay, no, that's okay, thank you. So Mr. Rice has moved to accept the application based on Article 4, ordinance, Town of Thompson Ordinance, Article 4 from February 26, 1973. Mr. Santos has seconded that motion. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, it will be a yes to approve, no not to approve. Mr. Lenke.
John B. Linky, no.
Mr. Poplawski.
Dave Poplawski, yes.
Mr. Santos.
Brian Santos, yes.
Mr. Hill.
Elvin Hill, yes.
Mr. Rice.
John Rice, yes.
Mr. Tal.
Oh, yeah.
Tal, yes. Mr. Nelson.
Christopher Nelson, yes.
Mr. Nelson, yes. Mr. Blackmer.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Mr. Blackmer, yes. Joseph Brody Brown, no. I'm on the basis of the ownership question. The motion passes. The application is accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Item 6, applications received after agenda posted. None, Cindy? I see none. I hear none. Item 7, citizens' comments.
I'm still on. I want to get on the mute.
Right, I hear none. I see none this time. Item
What's
8.
that, Joe?
I'm sorry?
I thought you said something to me. Sorry.
No, sorry. So there are no citizens' comments. Item 8, reports of officers and staff. Director of Planning and Development report.
Well, I think my report are actually separate agenda items, although I don't have the copy of the agenda in front of me, one being the POCD and the other being that Zoom conference for later this week. Did you guys, those are separate agenda items, are they not, Joe?
I actually don't see either of them.
Well, The review and
Well, yes.
discussion of, the review and discussion of POCD.
I'm sorry, yes, you're right, Cindy, I'm sorry.
Items.
And I don't know where the Zoom thing is. No, I don't see that either.
You're right, the POCD is another item. I apologize for that.
Yeah,
Item C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't see
I
where
thought
you're-
that I had seen that Gloria had included the flyer in your packets.
I did.
Yeah, I'm having some connectivity issues online, so I can't go back in and pull it up. But there is a webinar on land use topics this Thursday, which, because I can't look at it directly, I can't tell you what the actual topic is. I will tell you that it looked like a good one. It's from 6:30 to 8. One of my predecessors in the position, John Guskowski, is one of the presenters. As I recall, it was land use and equity, but I could be mistaken on that. Anyway, I had just included that for you as something. If you were interested, I can forward you the link if it's not on the flyer.
It is. Desegregation goals is the topic.
Thank you.
Address economic, environmental, and racial disparities.
Anyway, so yes, that one did look good. If anybody's interested in the link, just shoot me an email and I'll forward you the live link to register. I'm sure there's still room since it is free. And then if you want to move on to the POCD, we can do that now or we can do that later.
We will do it after the ZEO memo. Thank you.
Very good.
I'm just looking through my memo to see if there's anything that I have to bring up. Well, the home occupations, we have 3 of those. So that's on, and I think everything that's on here is on my, my report. So no, I have nothing new to bring up. Everything on here is on the agenda.
Great. Thank you very much, Cindy. Item C, review and discussion of POCD.
Okay, so I sent you guys a few pages on the housing section to see if you guys had any comments you wanted to contribute to that. Just as a reminder, what we've been doing in this process is we have a larger working group and we're peeling off into individual topics week by week. So a few weeks ago, we did review the housing section. I personally think that it needs some refinement, partly because specifically the affordable housing section, I did apply for and receive a grant from Department of Housing to develop an affordable housing plan. I haven't been able to move forward with that because the state hasn't published their guidelines yet. So I've been kind of dancing around the topic. In as far as the POCD is statutory responsibility of the Planning and Zoning Commission for the town of Thompson, I thought this would be a good topic for you guys to add some additional commentary to what has already been drafted. And Joe was a part of that working group, so he has seen this before. But I would very much welcome any comments you have on the draft if you guys had a chance to read it since I sent it. Look at that, Alvin's even left his chair.
Certainly as Jerry said, any comments we've got now, if you've had a chance to read it, will be really helpful. If not, please do take a chance to look at it. I'm going full teacher mode and giving you some homework, but please do take a look at it and reach out to Tira with comments.
Okay.
Will do.
Is there anything further on the POCD you wanted to mention tonight, Tira?
Not necessarily specific to the commission, other than, it'll be an agenda item for next month as well. And then it will be coming before the commission for final approval at your regular December meeting. We pretty much have to have it done by then for a number of reasons. So you know, at any time between now and the time it's finalized, although I've brought this section forward as something I would specifically like the commission to comment on. And again, because it is the statutory responsibility of the commission, you can send to me any comments as you continue to read it, if you have a chance to read it. It grows every week by 6 to 10 pages. So we're up around 108 pages now after the section on conservation that I went over with Carolyn and Judy Rondo last week. It's a good document thus far, but again, more voices and more comments will make it a stronger document because it is supposed to represent, you know, community priorities.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you very much. As Tira said, I have been you know, a participant in some of those meetings, some of those conversations, and people from a wide range of experiences are weighing in, and I'm really grateful to those who are helping out and to be a part of it myself. Great. Thanks very much. Mr. Rice.
So just for Tara, is it possible how much work it is to, if you could send us, while I'm looking at the housing, as to what the breakdown is in the town of Thompson as far as, you know, elderly housing, minority housing? Is that what I'm thinking, maybe I'm assuming too much here, but if we're going to develop something in a plan, that we would set goals in some of those areas. So in order to set a goal, we would probably have to know what the current.
I can send you what is available. The best breakdown I found, I referenced right in the beginning of the section. It's
Okay, I didn't read it, as you can tell.
Yeah, and there is a link to it. Yeah, there is a hyperlink to it, but I can peel it out and send it. I think I also have it as a standalone PDF. That had the best breakdown in terms of percentage of affordable housing, which Thompson currently has 5.9 against a recommended 10%. And then demographics were also in there in terms of, you know, average age of household, average size of household, and median income levels. So that was the best breakdown that I found.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Thank you, Ms.
Joseph,
yeah.
If Tara's finished, when she's finished, can we go back to that CEO memo? Because you didn't ask us if we had a comment or a question. You went right to the POCD, which is okay.
Sure, certainly. Because Cindy's, yeah, absolutely. Tira, is that all from you?
Yeah, sure, that's fine. I didn't have anything specific.
Great.
I was hoping to get more from you guys tonight, yeah. So yeah.
Okay, yes, John, CEO memo.
Well, okay, wait a minute, I'm going down the list of item 11. I had a question on that brickyard bonding in Madison Avenue, but I see it's on the agenda.
Right,
So,
that's what Cindy had said. All of her items are
okay.
on
Well, I was looking for them. What was her thing? Okay, excellent.
And item 8D, Town of Thompson Budget Report, September 2020.
I'm up, I guess. Huh?
You sure are.
We only used, as everybody can see, 17.0% of the budget. I didn't get a chance. That printing and publications. This is probably for Tara. Is that that professional services we had okay to pay the person that company, you know, to review our regulation.
The editing service, yeah.
Yeah, was that paid for already, or where'd that go?
Oh yeah, that was paid for because that was an online service. I had to pay for that up front, so that was paid for on one of the town credit cards, either the one directly for my department or the town one in general. I think the latter because it has a higher limit. So that's been long since billed and paid out.
Yeah, but it hasn't come out of our budget. That was my concern as to who paid.
It would have
for
been in your last fiscal year budget, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was paid for in fiscal 20.
You might want to check with Paula, because Paula asked me about that the other day. They sent
Okay.
it down to me and I said that that was Tara's expense. So you might want to check with Paula and see what's going on, make sure it's not paid double twice.
Yeah, she hasn't asked me anything about it, but I will do that. Sure.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, because it'll be on, excuse me, either this year's budget, which started July 1, or you're saying it was on last year's budget. Because I didn't see that. I don't think so, but I can get that. But
I think it was in fiscal 20, John, but I'll double check for you since there's a question.
I just want to make sure it was paid and where it came from. So how much money we have to spend for professional service left, because it shows $1,500. And I didn't think we put anything in this year's budget for professional services, but, okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, John. Item 9, correspondence. We received the minutes of the ZBA, the Connecticut Land Use System Forum that, oh, there it was, Tira, my apologies.
I thought it was in there somewhere, Joe.
Gloria would not have failed us.
I didn't see it either, Joe.
2 notices from the town of Webster on planning board decisions, 2 notices from the town of Douglas on public hearings, a memo from Richard Benoit, and
which accidentally got in there because you got that last month, and we're going to be talking about what you asked me to do
right
under the next section.
Yeah.
So that was a mistake.
And the CFPZA quarterly letter. Any questions or comments about any of those? Okay. Item 10, signing of Mylar, Ken Weiss subdivision.
Okay, I checked into that today. That's a split. I had called the site designer engineer Archer last week, and he didn't understand why he needed to put the block in there for you to sign. I looked at it today, and it's just 2 lots. And to be honest, I didn't have any time to look at the subdivisions and to see if those 2 lots has to have a block on it for you to sign. So I don't think you have to sign off on it. Is anybody else aware that you have to sign off on a 2-lot, a split like that? I mean, I can look it up.
Yeah, look at it. I mean, the last month, I was authorized to sign it when it was deemed ready to be signed.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, I got to it last week, so sorry.
that's okay. So
Okay.
you know, whenever it's ready, if
All right, we're still working on it, guys
thank you.
and ladies.
Okay.
Joseph, just a comment, Cindy, if you can find somewhere in our regs that authorizes him to sign that, I would encourage that anything that's going to be filed in the town clerk's office would, if I was to pull up a Mylar 5 years from now, well, who approved this? The planning and zoning,
Okay, all right, I'll do
Yeah,
that.
that's exactly what happened.
I'll put it on my list.
I mean, it doesn't make it official, that's all. I think if not, maybe that's the consideration next time when we're doing something, that all changes in land use be signed by the, approved and signed by the chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lenke.
last month's meeting, if I remember, we postponed you signing it because there was some issue of the Mylar where it wasn't finished, something wasn't in there.
It probably was that signature block,
It's
John.
a signature block, John, and I was supposed to, get on it last month, and I got on it last week. And then when I called Archer, he said that he didn't think that had to be done. So then I told him, I says, well, I'll do some more research and get back to you Monday, which, I didn't do any more research and I didn't get back to him today. So I will look into it further and take John's suggestion.
Thanks, Cindy. Item 11, old business, Brickyard Road bonding and reclamation.
Okay, so I went up there Saturday and Tara, can you put those pictures up that I sent to you today?
Yes, ma'am. If I can find them, I think it's this one.
So that's the first one is the lot. 240 Brickyard, and as you go up, it's like in the middle after those two houses there, the entrance into the fields and the gravel operation is further up. So if you want to show the first picture. Does anybody have any questions on the lot?
The picture underneath, okay.
Yeah. So that's the entrance off of Brickyard Road. And you can see that that actually was a cornfield in the front entrance there. And so right where my car is, then you go, I didn't drive any further down, but you go further on down and you're entering into the pit there. And again, that's going further. You can see some of his equipment down there in the pit. That's the second picture. These rocks here are still on that entrance. You can see on the right side of the picture, looking at the right side, that's continued the entrance going down. And all those bricks, those rocks there are going to be taken out. He will be getting rid of those rocks. Further.
How about that trailer, Cindy?
The trailer, if you want to go, well, you can see the trailers from this one too.
Yeah, okay.
All right, that trailer, the trailer, I believe he's going to be getting rid of the trailer, but if you can vaguely see a conveyor right in front of the trailer, go look further down, and that conveyor's right there. He's going to be getting a larger conveyor when all that is leveled out, because that's going to be the entrance into the cornfield on that side. And so they would have the conveyor for the corn, whatever they do with the corn. So that will stay there, the conveyor, when it's all finished. So you can see that he's done some work. You can see the tires, those are fresh tires there. He's done some work. You can see that he's starting, there's that's been there for a while. The slope there on the left side, that's been there for a while, but he'll eventually be working over in that area. The next one, please. And that's, a full view. And he's working up here where, again, you can see all the tracks where he's working right now. And I think there's just one more.
Is that a 3-to-1 slope there, or you just?
I haven't determined that yet, because I was going to wait to see what he got done by next week. So I have not determined that yet. But if you want to go, all those vehicles will be removed that you see down there. And this is up on the east side. This is where he was, where he parked his vehicle, whatever. I thought I had taken a picture of the piece of equipment that he was using, but I guess I didn't. I couldn't find it. But he will be putting, I have notes here. I don't know what I put in my, he will be putting, leveling it out and putting the seed in the grass and everything in there. So he's working on it. I get the point of the pictures is that he is actually working on it, and he intends to keep on working until it's finished.
Cindy, has he given you a time frame?
He said by November, by the end of November.
Okay.
He's gonna make that into a cornfield.
Yes, he
To
is.
get somebody braver than me to drive on that slope that he just went by.
Well, the slope is not going to be there.
Yeah, he's taking it out.
He's going to level it out.
Yeah, I thought you said that's where you've been working.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy, for that report. Are there any questions, comments, thoughts for Cindy? Okay.
And he said I can come by anytime, you know, that he's there. He works mostly on weekends because he does have a job during the week. So I take my dog for a ride and she loves running around there, so.
Great. Thank you very much, Cindy.
Okay.
You guys good with this?
I think, yes, thank you, Tara. Item 11B, Madison Avenue acceptance. Cindy, you're up.
Okay, now I gotta find my memo again. Well, I had the agenda, now the memo. Great. Okay. So I had a nice conversation with Rich and with Marla. So Rich is, as he said in his letter from last month, he's satisfied with the completed repairs that he feels will sustain the lifespan of the drainage system. Marla has a lot of issues on lot 18, and that she won't sign off on anything until her issues are resolved. She won't sign off on a building permit until all the issues are resolved. And then there's some issues, I didn't put it in here, but just in remembering our conversation, she said that there was a couple issues on lot 18. Excuse me, on lot 11. Rich's main concern is he's not satisfied with the depth of the road. The road is presently 1.5. And according to our regulations, Appendix A, roads design and construction, Section D, bituminous concrete pavement, final construction of road pavement repair shall not be less than 3.5 inches. And that's what he's looking for. And right now it's only 1.5.
That's, if I can, Joe.
Yeah, Mr. Santos.
That number 3 there, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we talked about this in the past, that yes, the final stage of the road would be 3.5 inches,
Right.
but we would accept something, and I can't remember what that something was way back when. We didn't want them paving the road, finish paving, and then tearing it up even more when they put in the curb or other utilities. So I think we accepted something. I don't know if it was 1.5 inches at that time. I'd have to go back in the
It was
meeting.
a base coat and then we
Yeah.
wanted, we'd let him go with the base coat for now. And I thought he bonded to cover the finish coat if,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Randy, with that. I just don't know if we gave them a dimension of the quote unquote base coat. I mean, he's saying 1.5 inches, but you know,
Well, he said that the base coat is falling apart. That's what he's
Yeah.
concerned about.
yeah, it sounds like it's more damaged than anything.
Yeah, right.
If
So
I
he's-
may, Joe,
Mr.
Brian,
Rice.
to your question, I believe the regs, if we go into that subdivision, I think it's 1.5 inches and then a 2-inch top coat.
that gives you 3.5.
Yeah, right.
Right. But the 1.5 inches is being damaged.
Yeah, well, then he's gonna have to have 3 inches of
Yeah.
good material when we accept it. I'm
Right.
not accepting it until he finishes it.
Yeah, I think that was the deal. We wouldn't accept it until it was done.
Yeah.
I remember this has to do with plowing the road. I'd have to go back in the meeting minutes to figure out what that was.
Also,
Well, if we accept the road, Brian, then we're gonna be responsible for plowing it. So we don't accept it. That's his, he's gotta maintain that road and plow
We just
it.
talked about that. So I think this is previously documented, I guess is my point.
I can look at the minutes. I'll look back at the minutes
Mr.
Mr.
Lanky?
in my spare time.
Brian is correct.
Just
It's
kidding.
because he, so he could, I guess, sell the lots and stuff like that. So instead, he didn't want to put the finish down because if he's going to use road, have the road with the truck traffic going in and
Right.
out, whatever, it would destroy the road. So we were giving him the 1.5, and it was his responsibility. If the 1.5 got destroyed, that was his problem to straighten it out before
Right.
to do the finish coat. That I remember because Brian was one of them, was one of the person, and I agreed with it. So we let him have the 1.5. With truck traffic and everything, of course you're gonna beat up 1.5. No, it's common sense. So it's on him, like Mr. Rice says. It's gonna be on.
So my sense is that the commission does not want to take any action on acceptance of this at this time.
I would say yes to that.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy, for getting back to us on those questions that we had asked.
Hey,
Item 12, new business. 12A, Planning and Zoning Commission application 20-24, Govind Patel, 141 Old Turnpike Road. ZEO request to waive neighborhood limited retail requirements. Article 3A, Section 4, CZEO memo. And before we get into this too much, Cindy, I think, so the confusion, I think, lies, right? So neighborhood limited enterprise is an area of review that the ZEO is authorized to approve. So,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
so with that, because it's your level of, or because it's the ZEO's level of approval, it's also according to the regulations, the ZEO can make the waivers. So let me just read it to you. It says, the ZEO or the commission, as applicable for the level of review, may modify or waive application requirements upon written request of the applicant. So if it's something the commission has to review, then only the commission can grant waivers. But if it's something that you can review, the ZEO can review on her own, then the ZEO can issue those.
The application. I can't approve a neighborhood retail application. That's neighborhood
As
retail.
a neighborhood limited enterprise?
Zoning permit with site plan review by commission, neighborhood retail.
I'm sorry, I thought you were suggesting that it be a neighborhood limited enterprise.
Yeah, well, that's what it is, neighborhood limited enterprise. I'm sorry, I can't get these words straight. It's taken me a year. Sorry, neighborhood limited enterprise. So what did I put in my thing? Neighborhood limited enterprise. So it's a zoning permit with site plan review by the commission. What's the district? I don't even know.
I'm sorry. I got confused. My apologies.
So, oh, I don't have my book tabbed yet, guys. So
It's okay. Which district is it in, guys? I'll pull it up on the screen.
it's TCDD, I think. Yeah, TCDD.
TCDD.
Okay, so just bear with me and I'll get it up on the screen for you guys. But Cindy is correct. That is a site plan review by commission.
Should be on page 43.
I'm sorry, I was looking at where it says in the memo where it says ZEO review and approval.
So remember last month when I told Gene Scott, yeah, I'll approve these and, we'll just send the waiver over to the commission. And you said, no, that I couldn't do that you guys had to do it.
Right. Yeah. And then, but Cindy, where I just got confused on,
okay.
I guess page 2 or page 3, maybe of your memo, it had said zoning permit, simple ZEO review and approval. That's where I got confused.
Joe, if I may, can we start right at the beginning of what this is? This is in the Thompson Corridor Development District, right?
Yes, it is.
That site. So in section 2 does not, as Cindy mentioned here, and I concur with her because I looked everything up, does not specify retail business as a permitted use in a district. So what he's looking for is a smoke shop, and that's a retail business, and it's not permitted in that district. So I think what Cindy is trying to say is possible that we would look at it for a neighborhood limited enterprise requirement, which I have to go back to page 15 of our regulations to see what that requires.
Uh-huh.
And if we give me 2 seconds to get page 15 here, and then that zoning permit you to look at with the let me see.
Yeah, and actually, John, I might suggest checking out, because I think the point you're making, and it's a point I agree with, I think, if it's the point you're making, is that
I'm sorry.
doesn't fit the the philosophy of a neighborhood limited enterprise.
It doesn't, well, it doesn't fit that Thompson corridor development district, because you can't have a business in that district, okay? But if we went to that neighborhood limited enterprise, which requires planning and zoning approval, if we do that, then he would have to develop a site plan. Because I wouldn't, myself, I'm just speaking for myself, is that I wouldn't approve that site, that approving that neighborhood limited enterprise, him getting that approval for, which allows for a smoke shop or any kind of retail business, unless I see a site plan. In addition, that site plan would require, I want to look at the parking. If you look at the requirements for that application, there's a lot of things that he has to see as far as how far the neighbor is. I'm somewhat familiar. Back in the days, I haven't been back by there for a while, but right next to the old fire department in Quinnebog. But that, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, Cindy, but like you're saying in here, is that I think somewhat the applications have to be twisted, is that he cannot have it according to the TCDD, Article 4.
Exactly.
He can't do that, but it's possible we could grant him that in the neighborhood limited enterprise.
If he follows, so my question is does he have to, if you go to Article 3A, Section 4, does he have to qualify, does he have to, if you want to put that up, Tara, Section 3A.
Which one are you asking for? I'm sorry.
Page 15.
Well, it's going to be 15 and 16, but.
Yeah, 15, 16, zoning permit with a site plan review by commission. It has
All right,
to
let me
be.
scroll back to him and I'll pull it back up.
I mean, we can just say, okay, the P and Z, I think, has the authority according to the regulations now, is go ahead and do that under the neighborhood limited enterprise. But but you're waiving the site plan or everything else. You're just giving them carte blanche to do without us looking at the site.
And do you know how much all those, well, page 16 is 1 to 15. Do you know how much all that cost? For someone to do?
You know how much a cigar costs?
Yeah, 1 to 20. I mean, so keep that thought right there, guys and gals, okay? Go down to my issues conflicting with this request. So the property card states 1 apartment and 1 commercial space. And the applicant stated that both units are used as apartments, which the applicant lives in 1 as a tenant. The applicant is interested in using one of the garage space for his retail business. Since the property card lists 1 apartment and 1 commercial space, and now there are 2 apartments, does remodeling the garage for commercial use, which would be non-conforming because it was commercial use before on the old regulations. So does remodeling the garage for commercial use eliminate the requirement to apply for NLE permit? Now, what I will tell you is I took a ride out there today because somebody had mentioned to me, the assessor, he had gone out there to look at it. And he said, I don't know how you're going to get a business in there, and I don't know how you're going to get any parking. So I took a ride out there and I took a picture of it. And of course I'm sorry, but I didn't copy it to send it over to you. But let me just get it up on my phone here. It is very, very small, and I don't think there's room for any parking. And
I concur with that.
yes, so I guess I had the conversation with you earlier today, John. Randy, right?
Not on this, no.
Oh, okay. So
right. So Cindy, I think that's, that's to John's point. That's why we would want to see a site plan.
Yeah. I'm looking at this picture again. It's just okay. So you want him to do all of these 20 points on zoning permit with site plan review by commission.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Lanky?
Yes, Randy and I, we can pretty much tell you, that used to be a candy store in there on the left-hand side until it was converted. There's never been any parking space in there. You're lucky if you can get one car in front of that building, even where the garage is. It's very limited in space. If a guy wants to put a smoke shop in there, all well and good, but there is no ample parking space. You're going to be right out almost in the middle of the highway of 197. That's right on the corner of 197, 131 when you come into that interchange. So
Yeah, I had to go across the street to take this picture.
Yeah,
at the old gas station that Randy owned at one time, selling tractors, where Wyndham is. But and there used to be a candy store in there. I remember that as a kid. On the left-hand side where you see all the windows.
And so to Cindy's point, there's no building being proposed, right?
No.
So some of these subsections of the site review may not be required.
Would be waived, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at it now, but do I, so when I told the assessor about the situation, he went out to look at it today, and I really didn't have a conversation of what his conclusion was, or he went out to look at it last week. So how do I handle it? Is it now 2 apartments? And because he took one of the apartments that was commercial, one of the spots that was commercial and turned it into an apartment?
Correct.
So does he have to come for a permit for a commercial space because there was a commercial space there? You see the confusion?
Yeah, wasn't that?
Not really.
Mr. Rice?
Cindy, where is this garage that he's talking about or you're talking about?
Well, you have, I sent you the copy of the property card picture. So the property card picture is pretty much the same picture that I took today. So you have that.
The garage is on the right-hand side, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. You look at the building and it's on the right-hand side. There's 2 garages there.
The garage, Mr. Rice, if you were coming down 131 from, Grove to Dale, and you come, you would bear right to like you're going to Dudley. That garage is right dead center in the point of that land. You weren't paying attention, you could drive right into it. In the garage, with the front of the garage to the road, you can just barely park a vehicle. If you were driving in to the garage where the 2 doors are, there is just enough room to have a vehicle parked there without the ass end sticking out in the highway. So it is a very tight spot.
Look at that picture. It's unbelievable. It's right off the road there.
Yeah, it is. It always has been.
Yeah. I mean, even though I saw the picture, like I said, I'm such a visual person. I wanted to go out and see it myself anyway. And yeah, it's tight. So
you got Kyle's service station, repair services right behind, a guy that sells tractors and everything there. Even right across where you took the picture, you were standing in Wyndham Sheet Metal.
Right.
Take the picture.
Yep, that's exactly where I was. Yep. Okay. So you're saying, so John, you said that, it's not confusing, it's simple. So what did you mean by that, John Rice?
It's simple in the sense that it's not allowed in that district, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
That commercial, number 1. So if he wants to round the corner and say, okay, what else can I do? You can apply for in that what were we saying in that? Let's see, let's throw my papers away because I was
neighborhood limited enterprise.
Yeah. If he wants to apply under that, then I'm saying for myself, is that fine? Go to page 15 and 16 and submit that to the commission.
Okay. All right. Okay. And so do I have the discretion of saying this doesn't apply to this particular, let's see, oh,
No, so
Well, I would say yes in a sense, Cindy,
Okay.
but now that you've seen the location, keep in mind, that's a very busy intersection.
Oh, yeah.
Keep that in mind for the safety of
Right.
people going there and everything else. I
Okay.
don't, well, I'm not gonna prejudge it, but, I'd want to see everything that's in that. requirement
Okay,
To move
Right.
in that section.
Just for the record, I don't know whether the building inspector should look at it too.
oh, yes, yeah.
Once upon a time, trailer truck was coming from Southbridge and plowed into that building.
Right.
Mm.
Oh, I remember that, Mr. Blackburn. Yes, yes, yes.
And so, a couple of thoughts I have. One is that, right, remember that we, right, each district includes language that allows the commission some discretion in uses that aren't mentioned in that section, in that district.
Mhm.
And in terms of the site plan review, where they're not looking to make a building, right? They're not looking to build anything. I
Mhm.
think that Cindy might be able to recommend to the commission that we accept some of these requirements be waived.
Yeah, Joe, along those lines, I would suggest Cindy, in reviewing that, what it requires, is just make a list for us for the next meeting and say, I'm recommending waiving these, and we'll do it, just what Joe is saying.
Okay. Right, Joe, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I like to
All right,
talk
so
to
then that
Joe.
brings me, I know it's not on the agenda, but it's basically the same topic because it's in the same area. So someone came in today and there's a doctor's office up there beyond the light on the right side, up in that corner. And there's room in there for another business. And of course, the business he wants to open up is a smoke shop.
Well, Cindy, I don't think, it's not on the agenda, so I'm not sure if we
Okay,
should
all
be
right.
discussing it.
Okay, all right. No, I
It's
just
up to
told him that I
Joe.
would give him some
It's up to
direction.
Joe, but,
I
pardon?
told him I would give him some direction
Well,
because it's basically the same problem. It's a retail and you don't
Yeah.
have retail in here. But because it's already a commercial building, can another commercial business go in it?
well, try to interpret the regulations and come back to us.
Is this
I don't-
continuing toward Southbridge?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, no, thank you, John.
Okay,
It is a-
thank you guys. You were great. Okay,
Item 12B, home occupations. There were 3
yes,
in the ZEO memo.
yes. A one-chair barber shop, which the place is adorable. Then you agreed that David Barrows, who had a home occ on Riverside Drive, all we had to do is just reapply. He had to reapply, didn't have to pay the fee for 15 LaPorte Road. And I went out to see it, and again, it's off-site detailing. And then a new one is just an office space, and because he does off-site field service for industrial base motor controller business. And all he has is an office, and there's nothing, he travels to his jobs.
Great. Any questions for Cindy on those? Great, thank you, Cindy.
Okay.
Item 12C, proposed property acquisition, state statute 8-24, first selectman.
I think she said she was in a meeting, Joe. No?
Hi,
There
Joe.
there you go.
I had a difficult time unmuting myself for some reason.
No worries.
Yes, so I counseled with our attorney, and you should have all the information. Did Cindy share with everybody the information regarding the acquisition of these small pieces of property and the details behind them?
They were
So-
sent all the paperwork. Yes, Amy.
Okay. So we were approached, or we've been approached, it's been a couple of years now, that Alan Rawson had offered up some small parcels of land to help rectify a dangerous curve on Quadic Town Farm Road. We were out at the site a couple weeks ago. He's hoping to do this within the next month or two, because he is selling the property, so he wants to have, wants to make sure that, you know, it's mapped out properly. Yeah, so we have to go before planning and zoning to approve the acceptance of the land. Rich has looked at it, said that, yes, it's something that our public works crew can do. Again, in order to straighten out a dangerous curve close to 363, the current gravel mining operation. And if the Planning and Zoning Commission is accepting of it, it will go to town meeting for public approval.
Looking at the map that we've got with this, I see no reason not to, he's just giving this to the town, or is there a fee that goes with this, more than $1 or something?
No, he is just donating it to the town.
I would move that the PNC recommend it's a good deal.
And I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Blackmer has moved, Mr. Nelson has seconded to make a favorable recommendation for the acquisition of this property to make a dangerous curve less dangerous. Any further discussion on that motion?
Who seconded it?
Mr. Nelson,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Hearing no further discussion, a yes will be to make a favorable recommendation. A no will not to be. Mr. Lenke,
John B. Linky, yes.
Mr. Paplowski,
Dave Paplowski, yes.
Mr. Hill,
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mr. Rice,
John Rice, yes.
Mr. Santo,
Brian Santos, yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Christopher Nelson, yes.
Ms. Chattel,
Dean Chattel, yes.
Ms. Chattel, yes. Mr. Blackmer,
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Joseph Perotti Brown, yes.
Thank you, everyone. This will go to town meeting. We're anticipating a town meeting on, I think it was November 24th. So that will be the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. It's going to be a hybrid meeting being held at the school auditorium.
Thank you very much.
What was that date again, Miss St. Ange?
I'd have to check
24
my
November.
calendar, but off the top of my head, I believe it was November 24th.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Item 12D, 18 LaPierre Road, discussion and use. This comes from the ZEO memo as well.
Did I send you pictures with this, with my memo, everybody?
Yeah.
I did send you pictures of that location? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Real quick on this, this needs a little more research, a little more work. But it basically came to our attention because somebody anonymous complained that they were burying boats there. And you can see from the satellite picture that there's about 13 or 14, small motor boats on the property. So it sent me over there. And I took some pictures, and then I looked and I thought there was sort of like a gravel operation going on. And I did some research. The folders are pretty thick. The research ended in 1995. And long and short of it is, it used to be Dumas's salvage operation. Then the Bonaventure tried to fight the town to keep the salvage operation. And they came to a court judgment that it could stay commercial, and there were several lists of businesses they could have. So the main issue was the boats being buried. And I met with Mark, who is the owner, and his son Jeff, who owns the commercial business that he has all his vehicles parked there. There's a 3-bay garage, there's a salt shed. I met with him last week, and what they told me about the boats is that they are going to be taking them off the property, and they will be bringing me receipts as to where they disposed the boats. But he assured me that he is not burying boats. So it just gets me to the question of, he has his construction business activity there. So that has to be compared with the court judgment. Nobody's complained about it. It's a clean operation. And of course, then the second concern was, is he actually doing gravel mining down there? And he says the work that they do down there, which I did not go down way down to the bottom of the pit there. He said that what they do is they have some stone they sometimes crush, they have some loam they sometimes screen, and he said that whatever he takes out for his construction jobs. So, you know, we have that 1,500 cubic yard limit. I think to see if they're within our regulations, it just needs a little bit more research. And like I said, they were very cooperative. And if I have any more questions, they will certainly answer them. And if I have any more, you know, to let you know, I did tell them I had a obligation as an employee of the town of Thompson to let the assessor know that all the vehicles that were parked on that property were registered in Massachusetts, which I did. I told the assessor. I feel that's my responsibility to the town of Thompson. So do you have any questions? Anybody know any history on it? This was quite interesting. Reading the folder was very educational. Well, actually the three folders on it was very educational. So.
Joe, this is Dave Poplowski. So I own the other 3/4 of the Dumas junkyard. So I abut.
Oh, you do?
His property, yeah. And I haven't seen any excavation. Nothing coming out, just stuff going in.
But you take stuff out, doesn't he, for his jobs?
For his jobs, but
yeah, okay. But he doesn't sell it to anybody?
No, I haven't,
okay.
No.
Okay.
He's
Mr. Lanky?
probably just bringing the material in and process it, and then he takes it out for his jobs.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
So not excavating, he's just bringing in material. There's really nothing, I think, that can be said about it.
Yeah.
But
that's what I'm looking for from you. And I think probably next month I'll just look at the court judgment and say, here's what the court judgment said that they can have for business down there. Now,
Right.
One of the things he did mention to me, and I feel that I need to tell him, is that the properties across the street, and I believe they still belong to Dumas and they're in foreclosure or however, he did say that he was going to try to pick them, you know, to purchase them and then to extend the business. But he's not going to be able to do that. Is that correct, according to the regulations? Because that wasn't part of the court judgment, that section over there. That was separate property.
Right.
So, okay, so I probably should tell him that he's going to have to look into the regulations real carefully before he decides to buy it for increasing the business.
Yeah, Mr. Rice.
Cindy, you probably have to see what zone he's in according to the map and see what he's allowed. Maybe he's allowed to have a business up there before you tell him, you know.
That section, okay.
That type of thing. And I would also suggest if you took pictures, take several pictures of what it is now. And then if you go back in 2 months, you can take more pictures just to satisfy whomever made a complaint. Will have proof of, hey, this is the way it was and this is what it is now.
Well, as soon as he brings me the receipts, you know, and he said, well, how long do I have to do this? I said, you know, yesterday. I didn't say that. I'm only kidding.
Well, the thing.
I said, no, I'm only kidding. I said, you know, do it. And, you know, within a month, a couple of months, if you can get rid of them, you know, just give me the receipts. I mean, I didn't say this was an emergency, just as long as he wasn't burying them, because I did call DEP initially And what they told me is if they wanted us to investigate it first, and then if we needed to bring them in, they would come in. But I don't think that we need to bring them in because they're just small motorboats. And he said they're all drained, you know, because their property is out by the lake in Webster. And he said they're all drained. And of course, then, you know, I'm taking his word for it that there isn't any oil spillage or gas spillage on there. But because they're small motorboats, you know, I mean, they don't have big gas tanks, right? I'm not sure about. So
Well,
you don't have
that's
to trust that.
That's to my point, Cindy. Take pictures and we'll be
Okay.
able to see. The same as to, if you take the pictures of the landscape, you'll be able to tell if they're mining gravel there or not,
Okay. All
or
right.
just bringing it in.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. But they were so cooperative and, you know, they just, you know,
Yeah.
they answered every single question and I had visited them, before I visited them, I had read the file so that I knew what I was
The old
talking about.
adage, pictures are worth 1,000 words.
Okay.
Trust and verify.
Or something like that, Joe.
Something like
Okay.
that.
All
Is it a
right.
million?
But can I ask David a question?
Yep.
So you live near there and there's never been any issues, right?
I hunt down there.
Oh, you hunt down, okay.
Yeah, so I spend quite a bit of time, and like I said, it mostly, he borders quite a bit of my property over there, and it's a drop off.
Yeah.
Where the old Dumas house used to be.
Yeah.
The Dumas house is on my side.
Okay.
So yeah, I walk the property lines too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
That was the
Very much. Very
backside.
serendipitous. Mr. Lenke?
That was the backside of the salvage yard, right? Dave?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good. That's good to know that we've got someone to keep an eye on it.
Yes.
Okay, item 12E, calendar year 2021 schedule of meetings. We have the meeting schedule that was sent to us. We approved. The only question I had was sometimes we fiddle with the one that's closest to Christmas. So I'm not sure if that's something.
There's no Christmas this year, Joe.
Well, we're talking about next year's Christmas, John. Next year's Christmas.
That's off too.
That's off too. Humbug.
Why we just
Humbug is right.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted by Gloria to the town clerk, and if changes need be, we can make them on a monthly basis.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion has been made by Mr. Rice, seconded by Mr. Lenke to accept the 2021 meeting schedule as proposed. Any discussion on the motion? None. It's a yes to approve and no to not approve. Mr. Lenke.
John B. Lincoln, yes.
Mr. Poplawski.
Dave Poplawski, yes.
Mr. Hill.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mr. Rice.
John Rice, yes.
Mr. Santos.
Brian Santos, yes.
Mr. Nelson.
Christopher Nelson, yes.
Ms. Chattel.
Christine Chattel, yes.
Mr. Blackmer.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
And Joseph Brody Brown, yes. The schedule is approved. Item 13, Commissioners' comments. Mr. Lenke.
Yes, it was brought to my attention, and actually, I kind of like got involved on Blaine Road. I was going up Blaine Road off of Route 12, and just as I was entering the bridge, I met two triaxles coming down off of Blaine Road to go over the railroad tracks. Now, where they were coming out of, I can't say 100%, but I did ask somebody the other day if they came out of the LL French River crush in there, and I gave them a description of the trucks, and they said it wasn't any of the trucks coming out of there. So they were hauling out, could have been hauling out next door at the stone yard. I don't know, but it was kind of, I thought no trucks could go that way from either way. They'll go left.
John, were they on Reardon Road?
Yeah,
coming up
Yeah.
to the intersection?
Yes.
If they were coming down the hill from Blaine Road.
No, they were on Rid, I was entering Blaine Road off of Route 12. They were coming down on the lower side of Ridden Road, you know, you got the upper and the lower.
Yeah.
They were turning off onto Blaine Road and going over railroad tracks, and there was no room for me to try to get by on the bridge. And it was brought to my attention. I just happened to be going that way because I was going to Gomo Road, and there they were. And they were like a bluish colored Max, I believe. And it caught me off guard. And I said, well, they shouldn't be here. I thought they all have to go left. And I talked to this person, and then they said, no, those trucks weren't coming out of their pit with material. So it could have been hauling out of the stone place because they get rid of their stone, the stone that they don't use. So, I thought, wasn't that one of their requirements with that part of Ridden that no trucks travel it?
Well, the French River Materials has a sign as you come out of their yard.
Yeah.
For trucks must turn left.
Correct.
I don't know what more we can do than that.
It could have been the next door neighbor too that doesn't know, and he's been getting rid of his product, his unusable material. So could have been Northeast that buys that product, and they're gonna run it through their crusher, or they're taking it someplace. But it was two trucks; they were like back to back, and like I said, I thought there was requirements that whoever is having trucks hauling on that road cannot go right, either one. So we have to find out if they were coming out of the stone or what.
My guess is that the stone place has never been told that. I'm not aware that we made that a
condition.
Condition.
Yeah.
I might, Joe, if I may, why don't we just have Cindy drop a nice letter and saying that stone place, whatever it is, and suggest to them that they turn left like the gravel operation does and put up a sign. And that's about all we can do. I don't know if we can, police that every day.
Well, if we don't make doing attention, I mean.
So just send a nice letter to that stone place, reminding them that the people in town don't. And maybe that bridge is not safe for them anyway. If you read the bridge report that the selectmen just got from the state, that bridge, I'm sure, is on that list.
Well, they don't have it posted, or last I knew it wasn't posted for weight.
Right.
It is a bad intersection if you're coming north on Reardon.
Yeah.
And you got to turn at that point.
Because I remember, if I may again, Mr. Chairman, that I think back in 2014, when Paul Linke was the selectman, that was one of the bridges I think the state looked at and said that, there's, it wouldn't be recommended for trucks of 10-wheelers hauling weight to go over that bridge, as a continuous traffic, Plus, like Randy said, the interchange is not the best to do a car and a truck to meet, but I just thought I'd bring it to the attention.
Thank you, Mr. Lanky. Any other commissioners' comments?
Can I say something during this time? Can I say something during this time? Hello? Okay.
Considering your question.
All right. I got a call from the selectman's office. Well, actually it's a complaint. Everybody knows where Bill's place is on Azard Road. His truck that he drove around town in, I guess is broken down because he put it on wheels. Put it on, on blocks on his property, and it's actually on the road. And I don't actually know what to do about it. And I went out there and I, took a picture of the truck there. So what it tells me is he doesn't have a truck anymore to drive around. But that place is really, really dangerous. So, there is so much stuff in front of that place. So I'm going to actually talk to Cherry and talk to the fire marshal. Something needs to be done. It's totally out of hand, especially after the fire.
Yeah, and so we look forward to hearing about that.
So who do I report the truck to though? Because it's in the road. We don't have a police force. Call the state police and say,
if it's in the road and it's a hazard, that's like a motor vehicle violation. You know, you could cause an accident, somebody could get hurt. Well, yeah, call the state police and have them come down, or have our board of selectmen look into the ordinance of that too. You know, it's not in our jurisdiction. I can
okay,
be wrong.
Well, if they don't know where to go, they go to me.
Cindy, this is Amy St. Ange. I
Yes.
will be more than happy to make a call to Chris Charland,
Okay.
Troop D, and discuss the matter with him. Obviously, it's a concern. I run by that property quite frequently, and I agree with you. It needs to be addressed. So
We have to address what's going on there in the front there. So you'll take care of that tomorrow then?
yeah, I'll make a call and we'll work on this together and find some
Okay.
solution for it. Absolutely.
All right, very good.
Any other commissioners' comments? Okay, hearing none. Item 15,
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
motion made.
Second it.
Made by Mr. Nelson, seconded by Mr. Lenke. This meeting is adjourned at 9:11 p.m. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
You too.
Good evening,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.